Good morning, boys. Today we're starting a new topic. The topic is probability. So start a new page, divide your page into two columns, put your topic heading probability at the top, and start copying all these notes down. Make sure you're listening to this explanation. So probability has been done before in Year 7. Each year we do probability and we build on it each time. Okay, it is something that you should be able to do well in. So it's just really about reading the question and doing what they've asked you to do where people come unstuck. Alright, so probability is the chance that an event will occur. You probably already know that. All probabilities must be written as fractions unless the question asks for something else. So sometimes a question might ask for a decimal, sometimes it might ask for a percentage. But if they don't say anything, give the answer as a fraction. Okay, so the probability range. All probabilities lie between 0 and 1, inclusive. Inclusive means it includes 0 and it includes 1. So that means we can have a probability equal to 0, and that would happen if the event was impossible. So if I don't buy a ticket in a raffle, the chance or probability that I win the raffle is 0 because I don't have any tickets in it. It's impossible. A probability equal to 1 means the event is certain. Okay, so if I bought all the tickets in a raffle, the probability that I'm going to win the raffle is 1 because I have to win, right? I've got all the tickets. Okay, so everything is either 0, 1 or somewhere in between, and that's where we're giving that fraction answer unless they ask for something else. Okay, now some questions will ask for a sample space. A sample space is a list or a table, something organised. Don't be all over the place with this. Try and organise yourself so that you're showing all the possible outcomes of what can happen. So it's not a probability, so you need to really read the question. Are they asking for a probability or are they asking for a sample space? Okay, these ones we're going to be doing there'll be occasional questions on this. They'll do a bit more on this next year. But if they ask for the expected number, so if it said something like, I'm rolling a dice and I'm rolling it 60 times, how many 5s would you expect to get if I rolled a dice 60 times? Okay, now some of you might go, I know how to do that, that's easy. Some of you might have no idea. So what we are looking at, if you're trying to get a 5 on a dice, that's one number out of 6. So the probability of rolling a 5 is 1 over 6. But if you roll the dice 60 times, that's the number of trials that we're doing. Okay, so we would get that 1 over 6 and times by 60. And the answer for that question would be 10. So I would expect to get 10 5s when I roll the dice 60 times. So an expected number, we get the probability of whatever we're talking about and times by the number of trials. Okay, so the number of trials may be something like the number of tosses, tossing a coin, the number of rolls, rolling the dice, the number of people chosen to be on a committee, the number of cards chosen from a pack of cards. All of those things are what we call trials. Okay, so we're looking at our first example today. We're looking at a spinner. It's got all the colours written on the spinner of what we can land on. And it says down here, for this spinner, write down the sample space. So we're not doing probabilities, we're writing down a sample space, all the possible outcomes. So when you spin the spinner, what could it land on? Okay, well, it could land on white, it could land on red, it could land on green. I'm not writing green down again, looking for a different one. And it could land on yellow. And we've already got those. So you'll notice when we do the sample space, white, red, green and yellow, we're writing down the possible things that it could land on. We don't care how many of them are on the spinner itself, but we just want to know what are the different things it could land on. Okay, in part 2, the question says for one spin, so if we spin the spinner once, calculate the probability, underline that word because that's what you're finding, the probability that the spinner lands on red. Now, if you look at the spinner, there's a red there, and there's also another red down there. So we've got 2 reds on the spinner. So if we've got 2 reds on the spinner out of 8 different things on the spinner, our probability will be 2 reds out of 8 possible things altogether. And then you can use your calculator to simplify that fraction. We're coming back in the next video to do lots more examples.